Clash at the Castle review. I am Will. That is Brandon. With the Cousins Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers and talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, this show, obviously, some comments I've seen. Some people said it was predictable. Some people said it was a B show. I thoroughly enjoyed the show.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It might have been a quote-unquote B pay-per-view, but the matches were great.
It doesn't feel like a B pay-per-view whenever they got the best crowds in the world being a part of it. Anyway, today we are going to do our pops and drops of the week per usual. And then we are going to do our full Clash at the Castle review where we go match by match, breaking it down, what we thought, what our takeaways are. And then as always, I'm not saying per usual again, we'll end the week with our fantasy match of the week, which will be me this week. So that'll be fun. Anyway, let's get into our pops and drops for this week. Pops good, drops bad. Do you want to go first? Me go first?
I think you went first last time.
Okay, go for it.
So I guess I'll just go first this time. I'm going to start out this week on the negative side. We're going to go with the drops this week. So my drop is going to be Sami Zayn with the IC title.
Yeah.
Now, it's not that, obviously, I've admitted before, I'm not a huge Sami Zayn fan. I understand that some people like him. I understand the international crowds. He's very over still. People still really like him. There's no character for me. It's just a generic babyface. It's not even like an uplifting babyface anymore. The decision to keep the belt on him, I personally disagree with. I understand, I guess, why, if you're going to have Otis and Gable go on. But now it's like, who do you have even challenge him? There's going to be another, what is it? There's a month and a half roughly till SummerSlam, which is when he probably loses the belt.
Yep.
I thought this was a really good chance to give Gable the belt. I thought it was a chance to get Sami away from the IC title, as we've talked about before, put him in the Money in the Bank ladder match, just give him some almost filler stuff for a month and a half roughly. And then you could have circled back around for something different, but kind of the same old stuff in terms of Sami Zayn just doesn't do it for me anymore. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to give that my drop this week.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go too much into it right now because we are going to talk about the match and kind of our thoughts and takeaways from it later on during the pod. But in just a quick summary, I completely agree. That is a big drop for me this weekend. Obviously, just for you guys at home, we weren't able to watch it live. We were both doing stuff for Father's Day weekend. He had thing for his dad because dad's come first on this weekend. Then I had a wedding, so it was one of those things where we were keeping up with it and hadn't got to watch the whole thing yet until today. But when I saw that, when I just saw the instant, WWE post like, and still, I was just like, damn.
Yeah, and I guess in terms of, obviously every week we do pops and drops. You pick one. Yep. What's your takeaway? This week I thought was a really good week for wrestling.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of drops, at least in my head, right off the top of my head, that I'm like, man, they really missed the boat on this one. So that's kind of my one right away. Like you said, we'll go into it a little bit later, but it was kind of the more glaring one of like, damn.
My drop for the week is a little weird. It's not a specific thing that happened within the WWE or a match or something this week. But I want to acknowledge it because to piggyback off of what you just said about, I wasn't able to watch it live, so I was picking up on things here and there. And the internet just exploded. Like the only thing that I saw from the Damian Priest and the women's tag team match, the only things were the botches. So my drop for the week is going to be just the internet, a small minority of wrestling fans going way too hard on these people botching moves. Look, it's live entertainment. The botches didn't have any significance at the end of the day in terms of like ruining a big part of the match that, the whole thing just turned on its head because of the botch. We'll talk about each one in particular later, but like the J botch, he immediately made up for. And Damian, not only did they kind of turn it into a funny moment, it added to the match throughout the match because Damian then just sold the leg, whether it being real or not real, the entire time. Get off these people's backs, people, man. They wrestle 200 days a year. They're gonna make some mistakes, especially like Jade. She's new and she looked badass that entire match. She made one little botch. Just can we focus on some positives? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the takeaways that I've seen like you said, we're just gonna hyper fixate on these botches.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess we'll get into it specifically later.
Yeah.
But the Jade stuff was kind of really eye opening for me. I mean, I guess the Priest one happened and Drew kind of helped play that one off, and props to Drew for that one. But the Jade one for me, it's takes away from the eventual winners of the match. It's all about the botch. It's all about look what Jay did, look what Jay did, look what Jay did. But if we were to reverse it, and let's say Jade and Bianca do win, then it's, oh, well, this is the same predictable, old, boring stuff. And it's like, there's just, right now, I haven't seen a lot of positivity.
Yeah.
There's been some, don't get me wrong.
I mean, we can be negative at times, but.
Yeah, and we can be negative as well. But I think wrestling fans as a whole right now, we need to do a better job about being more positive towards the product, because right now the product is really
amazing.
Good. It's really, really good right now. And I understand we have our gripes week to week or show to show or maybe certain superstars, but as a whole, we have to do better about just enjoying the ride, because it's been great lately.
Yeah. What's your pop?
See, there's a lot to choose from. There really is. I am kind of in between a couple of things. You go ahead and you give your pop first while I decide.
That's fine. Because my pop of the week is also a more general thing than specifically. And my pop is, I think the PLEs since WrestleMania have all been great. I really, they have just been solid through and through. Yes, they've been helped by international crowds. I think that obviously plays. You know, you can put shit out there in the ring, but if the crowd like is Scottish and they're going crazy, it's like that bumps it up a point. But these things are, the match quality has been great. We've been getting title match after title matches, so meaningful stuff. If they are predictable, so what? We're still getting meaningful matches. And on top of all of it, it's just like when we were watching it today, when I wanted to watch it, obviously, so we could do this, because again, we didn't get to watch it. I'm sitting there going, there really isn't any filler junk in any of these PLEs, man. It's just a banger. They put on the next match, do the best. Most of the time it's been a banger. Next match. There's no fluff here that doesn't belong here. It's just good shows from start to finish. So PLEs after WrestleMania, we're doing good here. We're doing good here. Almost a fourth into the wrestling calendar year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree 100%. I guess my thought as you were talking, and I guess this could be another drop, even though I'll do a pop, but another drop is tag titles once again not defended at a PLE.
Yeah, well,
and maybe that's why we haven't seen any filler stuff, because that's where all the filler stuff is.
Yeah, well, do it on your SmackDowns and Raws, I guess, if you're gonna give me that junk, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna give me filler, give me it to me on the weekly.
If you need time to figure that shit out, do it on your weekly television. Don't try to figure that shit out on a PLE, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My pop this week, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Bailey.
Ooh.
I know it's somebody we've kind of maybe not criticized, but we've wished for kind of some direction, some direction with her of, hey, what are we going to do? She seems kind of lost. Yep. There's no development. Admittedly, where does this send her after this? Probably to Chelsea Green, maybe. I don't know, for maybe Money in the Bank and then Nia Jax. But either way, I thought Bailey showed in the ring why she is the champion.
Banger.
She really put on a great match with Piper, and shout out to Piper as well. Like, it was a great match, and I was like, okay, yeah. Now I'm reminded again why I like Bailey. Yeah. So it really kind of stood out to me of like, okay, this is it. Like, this is why I'm drawn to it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people we posted one post a month ago when Bailey started this Piper feud, and I will stand behind it. It didn't start, the feud didn't start great. It was boring, right?
Yeah. It's really only kind of picked up steam the last 2 weeks or so.
Right. It really the last 2 weeks. And people were like, no, you guys are just being negative toward Bailey. No, we love Bailey. That we want to see her do great things. And this match was great. They actually gave it time. It wasn't just, when I was watching it, when they kicked we'll get into it, but they kicked Chelsea out, Piper, and Bailey hit a finisher real quick. And I was like, oh, they're going to just do this. Like 3 minutes. Nope. Gave them a banger. Piper and Bailey both put on. We'll talk about it a little later, but glad you brought that up, because Bailey's great.
Yeah, she deserves it. I mean, obviously some little more character driven and stuff like that. But like I said, Rivalry didn't start off too hot. Only kind of last couple weeks did it build, but it was good stuff.
It all ends in that squared circle, and they put on. All right. That's our pops or drops for the week. Quick and easy. Like them both. That means we're going to move on to the bulk of this pod. We got the Clash at the Castle review. Match by match. I'm going to be looking at this Bible that I keep a lot of because part of this PLE being great was there was actually a good amount of story told within each match. It was good stuff. So the crowd, I mean, they showed Glasgow. We're in Glasgow, Scotland.
Wow.
They had a fiery, what would they call it? Like they did a Friday presser, like a press conference where they.
Yeah. Then in Glasgow, they did. I believe it's Glasgow.
Yeah.
Maybe not cow, but go.
I don't know.
Glasgow, I'm going to say. They did that press conference kind of prepper before anything, before SmackDown and everything. Just
it was
like
great.
Introductory, here you go.
The crowd was hot there, and it absolutely carried forward into the PLE. They gave the crowd a second to just take it all in, and they were loud, and you just knew, yep, I'm here for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you find out, not only am I here for this, I'm here for the biggest match of the night, arguably, starting, because Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles are going to start. I Quit match for the WWE Undisputed title. AJ gets his entrance with his new terrible music.
Just god awful.
I mean, it's... talk about going 100 to 0 real quick, man. I mean, he had arguably top 5 music, and then they just squandered it.
I don't think it would even be arguable. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody consensusly would
No,
be like, it's somewhere in my top 5.
And that music works if you're a heel or a face, so it doesn't make any sense. Whatever. I digress. Cody comes out looking damn good. The whoa was damn loud. Cody is just international. He's everywhere. He is the man. And the second he gets to the screen, he enters the screen. It's like, yeah, I like Cody.
And I'm gonna take a second to shout out just the attire that Cody was wearing, just the gear. Like before he's got his jacket and everything. God, that looked amazing.
Yep.
I was like,
the belt pops.
Yeah. I was like, okay, yep, this is why he's the champ. He looks like $1 million.
They started the match with them just standing there while the crowd was going, Cody, or they're going, I don't remember like the actual cadence of it, but it was like Cody Rhodes, it was something like that, but it was loud. And they like, for the first minute and a half, they just stood there and just, it was all in. It was great.
Soaked it in, you know?
They mentioned that AJ, that's one of the main things that they've kind of worked into SmackDown and they worked into the press conference and everything, was they have kind of given it the angle of like Cody was stupid to say an I Quit match because AJ's undefeated in them. Like he's been here, done that type deal. So it was like, yeah, he's 4-0. So they were kind of playing the whole like Cody was being a hothead and just kind of, he shouldn't have picked this one because he's a king of this. So anyway, it was a great, loud match, heavy hitting, bloody. Cody goes for a table to start the match, basically sets it up. That table would then just be there for the entire match. But it went from, I mean, this is at the beginning of the match. They rolled out, tables out, then they go over the barricade, fight into the crowd. They fight into the backstage hallway. Like it was literally a hallway. Yeah. Everybody's like, what the hell? They make their way to gorilla position, and Triple H is kind of like, you know, don't look at me, I'm not back here type deal. I don't want to be a part of this. And AJ's choking Cody out with the wires backstage. Work their way back out into the ring, or just they come through the entrance set, crowds going wild, beating the hell out of each other. That's basically what's happening here, you know? Anyway, we would then have, they would work their way to the announce tables where AJ Styles would give Cody a couple like brain busters. Like he wouldn't suplex him. He would pick him up and brain buster him onto the corner of the announce table. Did that twice. Second time he did it, Cody shows up with a crimson mask, which is exactly what we were asking for.
Yeah, you specifically. Yeah. I hope that there's blood. And as soon as I saw the blood, that's what I thought of. I was like, Will's going to be happy.
I was like, I need the blood, man. It's an I Quit. If you do an I Quit match and there's no blood, then nobody should quit.
You're doing it wrong. Huh?
Yeah, nobody should have quit. But after AJ busts him wide open, he takes a note from The Rock, the final boss, because Mama Rose is sitting in the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, Cody bought her front row tickets, flew her out to Glasgow.
Yeah.
I mean, she's having a trip, vacation.
She's having a few months, you know. Yeah. Mania, she's got front row seats. You know.
Went to Philly. I don't know if she was in France, but anyway, she's there, and AJ is just shit talking her, and she's giving it right back. You could hear her just scream, "AJ, you're an asshole!" So Mama Rose was going crazy, and when the crowd recognized that Cody was busted open, they just started chanting the loudest "fuck you AJ Styles" chants. I mean, just clear. Normally WWE, even on PLE events, like especially at WrestleMania, they blink it. They blink the words, so it's like AJ Styles, AJ Styles,
or maybe you even get a U.
Yeah,
AJ Styles, or you get that sensor in the front part.
Yeah. But no, they were like, they just embraced it. And Michael Cole and Corey Graves, they even were like, there are a bunch of potty mouths here in Scotland. So that was very funny and very fucking awesome. The AJ would then, when Cody showed his Crimson Mask, they'd spend a good like 5 minutes middle of the match, AJ kind of dominating him, kind of just beating the hell out of him. AJ would break out kendo sticks and just batter the man.
Just beating the hell out of Cody Rhodes.
Battered the man. He hit him with a kendo stick probably 30 times. I mean, smacking him. He hit him with the kendo stick, and then he would go get some handcuffs.
Yeah.
Handcuff Cody behind his back.
Yeah.
And he would keep beating him with the kendo sticks.
Yeah.
Beat the hell out of him with the kendo sticks there. He would then go get a chair, beat the hell out of him there, and then he would roll out of the ring with the chair and like threaten Mama Rhodes with the chair. He's like, I'm gonna beat you with the chair too.
Everybody's getting it, man.
Everybody's gonna get a chair shot today. It was absolutely great. But then AJ would find like a chain and he'd wrap it around his arm to do a phenomenal forearm off the rope, a springboard phenomenal forearm. But while he was smack talking Mama Rhodes, Cody was able to like maneuver his handcuffs under his legs and get it to where he had him in the front, so he could do a little bit because the handcuffs were like this wide, right? So, and he snuck up the chair. So AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm and he goes for the springboard, and Cody Rhodes just WWE 2K24 yeets the chair at him, fucking smacks him in the dome, and AJ just takes it off the dome and falls off the apron directly through the table that was set up at the beginning of the match.
Which is maybe one of the best spots. Like top 3 of the night, It's like just fantastic.
I forget what it's called, like the smoking gun method. If you show something at the beginning of a movie, it has to be used at the end. There was good storytelling here. But we then would get a big sequence here. So Cody's hulking up at this point. Rawr, he gets the keys, he undoes the handcuffs. Mm-hmm. He would do a Cody cutter to AJ in the ring. He would do a crossroads. The crowd was like, do it again. They kept chanting, one more. He was like, I'm a man of the people. He got him up, crossroads him again. The crowd was like, one more. So he's like, well, I always do 3 crossroads to people. Might as well do it again.
Yeah, screw having those set for Roman Reigns. At this point, they were just doing them all.
Well, he didn't do them in a row, I guess. He dropped.
True, he didn't synchronize them or whatever.
Yeah,
but
he was like, I got to make this one special. So he gets a chair, and he does the crossroads on top of the chair, and the crowd's like, yeah. And then the ref is like, I'm gonna ask him to say I quit, and Cody's like, no, it's not enough. He goes and gets the handcuffs, and he takes AJ Styles and he handcuffs him to the rope. Mm-hmm. And AJ's squealing and squirming. He then goes and gets that same chair, starts giving him a couple chair shots, kind of swinging him a little loosey-goosey, but they're chair shots nonetheless. They finally ask him to quit, and he says, AJ goes, screw you, Cody Rhodes. Screw you. Cody then is like, you know what, screw this guy. He goes and he grabs the steel steps from the outside. He goes he throws him into the ring. He holds him up. AJ is now backed himself, handcuffed into the corner. Like, oh shit, I'm going to get destroyed. I'm literally sitting in this corner. He's going to batter me with steel steps. Yeah. So he says, I quit. I quit. Cody wins. But then he's like, you know what? I'm going to send this guy a message anyways because he was shit talking my mom. And he hits him with the steel steps once and puts the steel steps in the middle of the ring, stands on top of him, holds up the belt. Cody Rhodes wins.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at first I was a little, I wouldn't say confused, but I was kind of maybe like let down by the finish. The more I think about it though, like it's the more realistic finish. Like if you and I get into a fight and you pick something up and you come at me, I'm like, okay. Like I'm done at this point.
Not only that, but the commentators did a good job of being like, he's he's handcuffed in the corner. He can do nothing. He can't move. It's not just about what Cody has in his hands. It's okay. He can't go anywhere. He could literally just keep hitting them with these stairs. Yeah. I did see people on the internet who were like, this made AJ look so weak. I disagree. I liked it. I mean, I thought it was good.
Well, and I guess to those people, I would say like, I guess it would determine or depend on what, you decide to do with AJ.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, he doesn't need to look super strong. Like if that's the case, and you're like, oh well, makes him look weak, well then you should have had a problem with them announcing it as an I Quit match in the beginning.
You know why he doesn't look weak? Because he just put on 2 classics with Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the matches were amazing, and he beaten bloodied Cody Rhodes multiple times. So like,
yeah.
I don't know what you want from him there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess now the match was phenomenal. Great way to start off the show. Now you look forward. Are you going to get into like the after match?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that.
So what happens? Cody takes his time, gets his no pyro here in Scotland, I guess, but what would have been pyro? He was holding up the belt, taking his time, kissing babies, all that stuff. Gets all the way back to the set, does his normal where he throws up the belt before he takes off, and Solo Sikoa walks out, just stares him right down. He said on SmackDown he was going to take care of the Cody Rhodes issue, and I guess right now is the moment to do it. So Cody looks at him just like, whoa, what? Like confused as hell, right? Like it's just quick. He's like, what? Why are you here? Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, they run out, start whipping the hell out of Cody Rhodes. But, I mean, it was literally probably 10 seconds of getting whooped, and all of a sudden Randy Orton's music hits. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton's come out, and they take care of the bloodline very quickly. I mean, not much of a fight there. Kick him out to the back. That's literally all that happened there. So I guess Solo Sikoa is next in line for the Cody Rhodes stuff.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I know I saw some people online talking about like, oh, we're going to run Cody again versus the Bloodline. But if you think about the Bloodline storyline, it makes sense because Roman obviously had a big part in that. And now Solo's trying to be the new tribal chief and like all that stuff. So that kind of makes sense to me.
I am not going to lie. I'm one of the guys who doesn't want Cody to be a part of the Bloodline stuff.
It's not that I don't want him to be. It's just, it has to happen to me.
I mean, I guess.
Like, it was such a prominent thing for the Bloodline, the first version. I know some people don't really like the second version. I guess I'm more on the side of liking them, but it's like he's gonna need a little bit of something before SummerSlam, fill some time.
But they haven't. My thing is like they haven't done anything with the Bloodline to give them like a solid win over a story. Like there hasn't been any story so far in this new Bloodline where they just ended with Bloodline on top, move on to the next.
Yeah.
Like you need to have them beat somebody, like be in a story, whether that be a month long or whatever long, and end on top of that story and be like, okay, we crushed that, on to the next, and then you build up, and then if you want to put Cody in there, fine, and then but you have all this work that you can point to, like, look at what we did. We left a path to destruction, but right now it just feels like, hey, we keep saying we're going to leave a path of destruction.
Yeah. Well, and I guess my only rebuttal to that part would be the Cody part. Like, obviously, they're going to do their little bit that they can just for when Roman comes back, and then Cody's going to go on to something else. You insert Roman in there. So it's really just, I don't think it's going to be super long. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy, but it's just like a little bit to get Roman involved into it. And then that's why they do that. That's maybe like wishful thinking, I guess, because I don't know why else you would tie your champion up to this because, like you said, there's no reason to.
Yeah.
The only other part that I thought was interesting was Randy at the end kind of staring at the title.
Yeah.
So
subliminal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're so far away from whenever that will be, honestly. That might honestly be a Mania thing because, I mean, right now I think Orton's just baby facing it up. So
right.
We will see. Anyway, we move on to what was just delightful, is what I'd call it. I was not expecting much from this match, but it ended up being great. We had Bianca and Jade taking on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn for the women's tag titles. I mean, we've only been doing this podcast for almost 2 months, and if you've been listening, you know that I am not a fan of tag matches that include more than 2 teams. I don't like it. But man, this was great. This was great. Jade and Bianca came out, the champs. They came out first. That's dumb, but they were dressed in like Bianca spiked her hair, like her long braid was all spiked up. It was like Road War, or no, what are they called? What are their names? Infamous tag team with shoulder pads. Yeah,
Road Wars. Legion of Doom,
Legion of Doom.
Wars, whatever
Road Wars. It was their homage to them. So I mean, they look good. It's fine. Then you had the match, which was just great. It started off with Bianca and Jade basically doing their show off stuff. Bianca, it started with, I want to say, Alba Fire and Shayna Baszler in the ring with Bianca Belair, and she 2v1 them basically, and dominated them. Then she tagged in Jade, dominated everybody, and then the match started getting good when after they dominated them, the other two tag teams got out and they were like, dude, let's just deal with them real quick.
Yep.
Like they literally huddled on the outside of the ring. So Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Isla Dawn, and Alba Fire huddled on the outside of the ring, and they're like, they're whooping our ass. How about we just get rid of them first, and then we'll just we'll just do this 1v1 here. And they're like, deal. Mm-hmm. So they immediately went to Jade, beat the hell out of Jade on the outside of the ring. I mean, suplexed her, suicide diving her. I mean, they just did it. Mm-hmm. Then they went in the ring, did the same thing to Bianca, beat the hell out of her, and it literally became a 2v2 match.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, what
that's
else can you
logic.
say? That's how you do it.
Yeah,
that's smart.
Logic.
This team is way better than both of us, but combined we're better. So let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, it was absolutely great. So the getting rid of Jade and Bianca, they got rid of Jade real quick because they all just 4v1'd her. And then with Bianca, she put up a little bit of a fight, and so both teams are kind of struggling a little bit. But they ended up beating the hell out of her. And when they were stomping her down, Zoe Stark was like, okay, that's enough pain. Now I'm going to go after you guys. Some match on, basically. Zoe Stark breaks the alliance and starts beating up on Isla Dawn. Let me flip my Bible here. The match obviously has become a 2v2 at this point. They have a couple minutes of an actual tag team match between the two of them where both teams get their moments in the sun. Yep. And phenomenal. So at this point you had Jade and Bianca get their showcase. Now you have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn getting their showcase of the hometown Scottish people in this match. And then Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, they get showcased, especially Zoe Stark, who we'd probably seen the least of in all this. But then what I alluded to earlier happens. So Jade and Bianca make their comeback. Bianca's back in the ring. She starts to make her comeback. They hot tag in Jade. And Jade goes for like a springboard. I don't know what she was going to do with it. She goes for a springboard. Unfortunately, one of her feet slips and she falls on her face, right? But you would think, from the internet, the whole match fell apart. No, she literally just gets up and spine busters everybody in the match. And I was like, that'll do.
Yeah.
That'll do. I mean, you look badass. So yeah. Pick them up and just
smart
slam
recovery. The only thing that I would maybe tell Jade is like, hey, maybe don't do that. You don't have to springboard, right?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I felt the same way. I'm like
I feel like that doesn't really fit her.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's something that you can, I mean, like AJ Styles gets that off every time. Well, that's because it's AJ Styles and he can do it. So like, just kind of know your limits, I guess. But like, other than that, like, she got up and boom, boom, boom. It was a nice recovery, and she looked strong doing it after that. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't really remember the botch if it wasn't for the internet. I mean, the match moved on. Everybody was just like, okay, here we go.
That is a good point. It literally is so forgettable unless you're on Twitter and you see it a million times. I wouldn't call it a botch, but I will say the one thing that I didn't like, that I will be picky on here, was Shayna Baszler got Jade in a headlock, and we've built up since last Raw that Shayna Baszler can give a good headlock, right? So Jade is getting choked out here, and she was kind of doing this, like, she kept doing this, like a tapping with her hand.
She like doubled it and like,
yeah, she was very like you see guys like Randy Orton kind of do it when they're about to do spots and moves. Like, I don't know if it's like a wrestling thing where they tap to tell them to like loosen up or something, but
or maybe like, hey, we're gonna go on to the next.
No, yeah,
or something like
it's
that.
A wrestling cadence.
Yeah.
But you can't be doing that when the camera zoomed in on you getting your head choked out, because even the commentators had to call it out. They're like, "Oh, did Jay just tap? The ref just wasn't in the angle to see it, I guess." And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, not good, but she's still learning. I'm gonna give her a little bit of a break, but yeah, I would obviously don't do that.
Yep.
Work on it, but I mean, we saw a little bit. She had a little bit of an off day, but I mean, it happens. You know?
I think she was great other than those two things, and the botch to me is a nothing burger, and this is just something where like Hunter Triple H needs to be like, hey. Anyway, but this did lead to the end of the match. So she's getting choked out. She ends up fallen to the ground. I mean, she's like fully getting choked out at this point. Bianca would then just come in with a flying knee off the top rope and just destroy Shayna Baszler. I mean, just got all of it. Like,
yeah, it was almost like she overshot it.
Yeah.
But then like you watch it back and it's like deliberate knees to the back, and it's like, okay, that was badass.
Yeah, I mean,
like that was perfect.
That hurt. Like, that hurt. So after they do that to Shayna Baszler, so Shayna's now like, ow, and Bianca gets her up and gives her to Jade so that Jade and Bianca can set up their finisher where they do the DDT into the kick into the suplex.
Yeah.
They do it, and Bianca is like, okay, I'm going to get out of the ring as quickly as possible right now because you're going to get the pin. So she takes off to the far side of the ring, and while she's doing that, so she's not looking at Jade, Isla Dawn gets in. And it's just like, nope, get out of my ring. And she grabs Jade real quick by the hair and just slings her out of the ring. Pins Shayna, who just took the world of damage.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. We have new champions, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire.
Mm-hmm.
That match was great. Totally unexpected.
Yeah, I guess some people in our comments, some of you guys thought that they would win this match. And admittedly, I was like,
yeah.
I disagree, but you know, you're open to your opinion, and you were right. And I was pretty shocked. I know we talked about like, hey, this would be a way to get the belts off of Bianca and Jade.
Even when we were saying that, we thought it was going to be Zoe Stark.
Yeah, we thought Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler. We
Baszler.
thought that was going to be the way to go. So at this point, also quick little mention, you knew the titles were probably changing hands in the Cody match when Cody comes out, and they put that graphic up there for the women's title. And it's like, oh, something's happening. Yeah. So even then, I was like, okay, Shayna Baszler is gonna get this.
Just for people who didn't watch, when Cody Rhodes came out, instead of when they introduce him and they show the name plate, like they show the bar with their name where it introduces them, instead of Cody Rhodes, it had someone pushed the wrong graphic and it was the women's tag titles.
Yeah.
And it said enter superstar name here.
Yeah.
Like it was their talent
name or something. Yeah. So like, well, at least they didn't give it away. At least they didn't have the name on there. I know Alba Fire, her mom passed away this week or 2 weeks ago. So very sentimental kind of homecoming win for them. And also it doesn't really hurt the tag division because now you can actually have a realistic tag division. Yeah. Because Jade and Bianca don't have the belts. So I'm all for it. I mean, we'll see what happens with Jade and Bianca now.
Yeah. Also, the match was great.
Yeah.
Like they can't say that enough. The match was great. Like they came out and I was totally just looking at this as something where I can lean back and relax and expect what you know. No, it was great from start to finish. I highly suggest watching it.
Yeah. And it was really good. I don't mean to cut you off, but how the two other teams coexisted to beat them.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when Isla Dawn just throws her out of the ring, you're like, oh yeah, that's the most sensible way to win a match ever. Yeah. Like it's like a WWE 2K. I'm going to throw you out of the ring. I'm going to get the pin.
And everybody looks good here. Like Jade and Bianca dominated the entire match. So they looked good. Shayna Zoe Stark put on a good show. She didn't have any like huge standout moments where you look at her and you're like, oh, now she's a star, but she looked good. Yeah. Shayna Baszler, they built her choke, her submission maneuvers up to be a big deal. And she almost had Jade out. Mm-hmm. So that's big. And then you look at Alba Fire and Isla Dawn and you think, they're the smartest tag team in the match because they started the alliance thing, and then at the end they took advantage of all the big moves. So they're like, you know, I mean that's just picking your moment. So everybody looks good here. Women's tag division is officially in the best spot it's probably ever been now with this match.
Yeah, I mean it's at least probably the most like believable spot it's been in a while.
Here's my question: how fast do they give the tag titles back to Jade and Bianca? Is this a Raw thing?
I don't even know if they give them back.
Really?
I think one of the two, maybe they have a match on SmackDown, right? Maybe they say like, hey, no, like we want our rematch clause, but maybe there's some miscommunication and maybe they don't win again, like something like that. I think they're going to start building. It's going to be a long road towards that. Money in the Bank is next month. Maybe one of them's in the Money in the Bank, or maybe they have a rematch or something, but I don't think they get the belts back.
Really? I mean, I think, I don't know. With Money in the Bank, that is something. Maybe you put them both in the Money in the Bank match, and then they start to do their, hey, I love you, but like I kind of want this Money in the Bank thing, and that'd be a good way to do it. I'd be down with that. Deal.
Yeah, and I think if anybody gets it back, I think they run back. The Unholy Union, I believe, is the name for Alba Fire and Eyelid On.
Yeah.
Versus Zoe and Shayna. I think
Yeah.
that maybe they run that back. Because like you said, it was good.
Run that back one time, and then you do whatever you are doing with Lyra Valkyria and that tag group, maybe.
Yeah, you can do something. But
we are
I don't
talking about the women's tag division, so
Yeah.
WWE's doing their job.
props.
Now another big story one. Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. Chad comes out with
Do the voice. Intercontinental. Do that. I like when you do that.
Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad comes out with not all of Tozawa didn't make his fight, didn't?
I was thinking about this watching it. I wonder if he's got some reason he can't
Yeah,
travel
yeah.
because he's never been on the traveling shows.
As a person who is dealing with all of immigration, I bet he doesn't have the right visas or something. Because
there's some
bullshit.
There's some sort of travel issues.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Because
Legit.
every time they travel somewhere out of the country, he doesn't make it. So
no Tozawa.
sad.
But
But I mean, I guess this isn't a shot at Tozawa. We didn't really need him with how they worked the match.
no,
so
no, we don't ever need him. I love Tozawa.
Disagree.
Anyway, I will point out Sami Zayn makes his entrance here. I don't know. And the second,
One day you're gonna get it right.
yeah, he gets into the ring, and the second his foot hits the mat, Uncle Howdy message. It says, "You all have been warned. It's over, and the massacre is coming." So, looking forward to Raw tomorrow. Yeah.
Or I guess
Today.
tomorrow, today,
If you're
whenever
watching it.
we're able to
Yeah.
get this out.
Big, we went Otis chants right away from the crowd. Big. They didn't, I mean, they were obviously hot for Sammy too because everybody loves Sammy for some reason. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, they started out slow back and forth. It was a very Chad Gable Sammy match, technical wrestling, suplex here, suplexes there. Sammy did his dumb fake suicide dive where he hits the rope and backflips and everybody cheers. Yay, Sammy!
I'm one of those guys that cheers. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. Sammy at one point would get out of the ring. He would just do a rollout while Chad was sitting there in the ring, and he would walk over to Otis and Maxine, and he would just kind of give him the nod of like, "Hey, just to remind you, this guy's a piece of shit. So if sometime this match you want to turn on him, that'd be cool, bro." Gable would then get out a little bit later, and he would only address Otis. He walked right past Maxine. He grabbed Otis's head and he put his forehead against him. Because Otis is his son and it's Father's Day, and he just told Otis, focus up, don't listen to the crowd, because the crowd's going crazy for Otis. Sammy's talking to him, stay here, stay present. We're here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Chad would then immediately attack Sammy's arm. He'd hurt Sammy's arm. That would turn into a full match thing until Sammy hulks up and then he forgets that he's injured. I'm just hating on Sammy a lot, aren't I?
His arm and his ankle, his leg as well.
Mm-hmm. They did this. I liked it. It was funny. I liked the Sammy. They did a Sammy and Gable German suplex.
Standing switches.
Yeah, they did standing switches. So they both of them were trying to give each other German suplex, and they would just keep switching. So
like 8 times.
Like 8 times.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, he's gonna get it," but Sammy would then get it and almost kill Chad Gable. Legit.
Yeah, he spiked him. Spiked him pretty hard.
Man, you're pointing out botches from freaking Jade and Damian Priest. How about Sammy almost killing Chad Gable?
No,
Dropped him.
It was effective.
Dropping him on his freaking head like Bill Goldberg. Anyway, Chad would get out and he would walk up to the IC title. He'd get out of the ring. He'd walk up because they have the little stand where they keep the championships,
Yes.
the little red carpet around them.
Which is always cool. I
love it.
I don't know why, but I like it.
It's way cooler than it just like being next to the ring bell.
Mhm.
But he would give it, and the commentator's like, "That's bad luck. He shouldn't touch something he doesn't have yet. That's bad luck." And I like that. And he'd walk over and he'd just give it to Maxine. He'd be like, "I want you to hold this, and you'll know when to use it."
Yeah, and then he gets in the ring, and I don't mean to cut you off because you're about to go into it, but he goes, "Ready?" Like you can hear him go, "Ready?"
Yep.
Right.
So he said ready for a reason because he would then get Sami Zayn, drag him over, and put him on the second rope, and he would do the thing where you choke him with the rope, and the ref goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and Chad would back off, and then he would start shit talking the ref basically. So the ref wasn't looking. Gives Maxine the perfect opportunity to do the right thing and hit Sammy in the face with the belt. She can't do it. She just can't do it. She's weak. She is a weak woman. Anyway, he would then go up to Maxine, she's on the rope now and near the turnbuckle, and he's scolding her because that's all he does now to her.
Mm-hmm.
And Sami would go, Sami Zayn was like, oh, he's talking to her again, so I'm gonna go for the haluva kick. But Chad is like, no, I'm not letting you haluva kick me. He gets out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Sami pulls his leg back, doesn't quite hit Maxine, but comes damn close to it. And Chad then would hit the chaos theory right out of it. 1, 2, ooh, good stuff here. Anyway, Gable would then continue to go yell at Maxine because she needs to be yelled at. She didn't listen. And he get all up in her face. And then Big Boy Otis would be like, back up. Otis gets in the middle of them. Crowd, wow, is this the moment? Is this the moment? Sami would then jump out of the ring and start hitting Gable. Otis would then turn to look at Maxine. They're like, oh, you okay? You okay? And now, so it goes Otis, Maxine, and then Gable and Sami are fighting. And Sami throws Gable, and Gable trips and shoulder tackles Maxine right in the leg.
Yeah, he's got him in an ankle lock off the barricade.
Yeah, you're right.
And so he goes to like reverse it with that roll through and then rolls him.
Right. Yeah, he had the ankle lock. Reverse rolls, hits him, hits Maxine in the leg. Otis would then take that offensively, basically. And Sami's now laying there on the side of the ring, and Otis walks up to Sami because, he's like, Sami caused this a little bit. Yeah. He goes to raise his arm, but then Maxine is the one who's like, no, Otis, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird, like, Otis almost goes after Gable, and Gable slides in the ring, and then Otis also almost goes after Sami.
Yeah.
And they're teasing, I don't know, Otis being pissed at everybody, I guess.
So Otis didn't hit Sami, which Gable then once again is like, what is going on? He's sitting there just like with his arms up, like yelling at Otis. And Otis is like, you know what? I've had it with all this crap. He goes over, he lifts Maxine up like she weighs 1 pound and starts carrying her out of the stadium or out of the arena. Go up the set. Otis or Gable's like, what are you doing? Turns around. Haluva kick.
You remember on Raw, you were like, man, one haluva kick to Otis shouldn't put him down. This is why they did that, apparently. The haluva kick, just one haluva kick. Boom. Done. 1, 2, 3. And still.
Should be called the haluva bore because it's hella boring. Sorry.
Boo.
I'm so negative about Sami.
Boo that joke.
Anyway, Sami haluva kick to Gable. 1, 2, 3. Sami retains. Chad Gable is just, I guess, never going to get the IC title. Never going to have a strap. You mentioned it in your drop earlier today that you didn't like this decision, and I will piggyback off that. Jesus. I mean, how many times are we going to give Gable an IC title chance and he just lose? I get there's a lot of story around it, but this was bad. I didn't like it.
Well, now
I love the match though.
Now you're running into where Sami's like, well, you will never have another title match as long as I have this belt.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense. It's also wrestling. They do kind of whatever they want. But I don't know where they go.
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody's taking the belt off of Sami whenever, and then maybe Gable gets it after that.
Yeah, but what are we going to do? Are we going to have like Chad Gable enter the Money in the Bank, and then we go through the same stuff with like him needing help in Money in the Bank, and then Otis doesn't do it? Like,
I don't know where you go because now you have the Otis Gable storyline becoming so a big storyline.
Yeah.
Admittedly, people honestly like it and they tune in to watch it. There's no title involved now, so you kind of have to like dedicate time to the Otis and Gable stuff, but then you still have to find a way to dedicate time to the IC title now. I don't know where that you go.
That's a good point.
It's a lot of time now that you're gonna have to divvy up, and with Howdy coming out, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do things. But overall, I just don't know where you go with the IC title. Maybe like a breaker challenges Sami, but I still think it's too early for that. But it seemed like almost the perfect time to give Gable that belt.
Because it was the perfect time to give Gable the belt. It just was. With Money in the Bank around the corner, you could have even had Otis turn on Sami or on Gable and like make his feelings felt here in some way. So you end, now you know that you could have had it to where after that match that Otis is next up. So you end
for the IC title, with Gable having it,
right,
yeah.
So you just end that part of the story, and then you give Chad the belt, and then you immediately work the Chad versus Otis storyline, the actual butting of heads and being enemies, and then you have Sami into the Money in the Bank stuff, and it just that flows perfectly. Wait,
Yeah, and
why?
and I've seen some people online say like, "Oh, Otis versus Gable wouldn't be good for like a SummerSlam," but
Yes, it would.
I disagree because
Completely.
that storyline is so good that you can have that carry a little bit longer. Since there are different members of Alpha Academy, you can have Gable kind of maybe try to pull one of them away,
Yeah.
or maybe not, or maybe and then the Creed brothers come in. You can do different things for a month and a half, and then
Those are the storylines that are perfect for IC title.
yeah, and then you have a good match because honestly, at this point, Gable's probably like a top 5 guy in the company right now. I would say he can have a good match with anybody.
He's always been that way, but now he has a character to back it up. So give him a belt. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's like you really could have done that there. I don't know why, but honestly, I'm more excited to see the Otis Gable stuff than I am to see Sami with the belt. So I don't know if other people feel that way, but
Yeah, that is just a general question of do people honestly find Sami Zayn to be that great of a champion? Like people, does WWE really think that people would rather like Sammy's over because he's Sami and people just love that? They don't care if I don't think they care that he has an IC title on him. He's going to enter any arena with the music and people are going to sing it and he's going to do his same. He can give the same pre-match speech on how he's going to make the Money in the Bank, the best thing ever. Like it's just going to be the same thing. So I'm pretty negative on it. I was really, really looking forward to a Chad Gable championship run with Otis and them. I just think it writes itself. So
yeah, and at this point, as one of our viewers on TikTok, I believe one of our followers pointed out, we were now at this point both 1-2 on the night.
One guy went 5-0,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, "That's good.
That's impressive." And
God, we had a viewer that was sitting there just calling us out. God damn.
Yeah. Well, he gave us our at the end of the night. He was like, "Well, here, you guys both went here," and then maybe that was on YouTube, but I can't remember. But yeah, I was like, at this point in the night, I would not have guessed to be 1-2 with the predictions.
Anyway, that match was great, but the ending, no. Piper versus Bayley was up next for the women's championship. We already kind of alluded to this earlier because you gave Bayley your pop of the week and it was very great. Just another great match that we just didn't see a long, good match happening, even though both these people are great. It's just the story hasn't been so hot to back up a great match like this. I predicted before that Chelsea Green was going to be a big part of it, and that's what the beginning of the match felt like. Because Chelsea Green was getting, anytime the ref was distracted or couldn't see Bayley, Chelsea Green would get involved. She'd give her a good slap or, she was getting involved, like where Bayley would run the ropes and she'd grab the foot, a bunch of stuff like that. But it didn't last long because Piper or Bayley would then be like, dude, stop doing this. And Chelsea Green was just kind of laughing with her hand on the apron, and Bayley would walk over and just stomp her hand. And Chelsea Green was in the right because that hurt. And Chelsea Green looked at the ref and was like, punish her.
Yeah,
my hand.
Send Bayley to the back. Who's in this match. Yeah. Send her to the back.
She's like, call the match. Look what you did to my hand.
I mean, you think about it like, you think about it in wrestling terms. Yeah, send Bayley to the back. She gets counted out. She's still champion.
I love it.
But send her to the back because my hand is hurt.
I thought it was great. It was Baby Nate was the ref. So it was just, he was looking at her like, what are you talking about? And she told him, she's like, she broke my hand.
I do wish Baby Nate had a little bit more of a wind up on the ejection.
Yeah,
like one of those,
He was just like, go, leave. Yeah. That's basically what it was like. Crowd goes crazy. They were cheering Chelsea out. And then they were doing the hey Bayley per usual. They were loving on Bayley. Then this turned into
this man's chants.
Huh?
We got to work on your chants.
That's what it sounds like.
Your timing, your cadence. We got to work on it.
Oh Jesus, I'm not Scottish. Anyway. This would then turn into a one-on-one match, so no more Chelsea Green, and they made Piper look strong here. Piper looked good. A lot of she was doing flipping sentons off the ring apron to the outside of the ring onto Bayley. I mean, she was moving. Good stuff. Bayley would do this spot where she had Piper, so Piper's on the outside of the ring on the apron, but then she would put her through the second rope to where she was hanging over the second rope into the ring. And Bayley would go on the turnbuckle and give her an elbow drop. Then go on the turnbuckle, give her a cutter. And then she'd go on the turnbuckle, give her a rolling senton. And then when she did the senton, Piper flipped into the ring, and then she'd go up and hit her with the Macho Man elbow drop from the top rope. 1, 2. Ooh, I was like, that was a phenomenal little spot session right there from Miss Bailey. We would then get a belly to belly off the top rope, and then a luchador would come out.
Nacho Green.
Nacho Green would come out. We didn't know. We don't know who that was.
Yeah, I don't know who it was.
Never saw the face.
Weird that Bailey would just attack a random
Yeah.
masked woman.
Yeah, it was a masked woman who was dressed in the exact same attire Chelsea Green had on previously, but with a pink mask.
Mm-hmm.
So Luchador came out. It was just great. Distracted Bailey enough for Piper to kick out. Like, she distracted the ref enough to where Bailey was sitting there after the Bailey to belly off the top rope and was pinning Piper. But the ref was like, what is this Luchador doing out here? And by the time he realized Bailey was pinning her, she was able to kick out at 2. So Bailey would then be like, okay, I need to go deal with this Chelsea Green issue. She'd go and beat up Chelsea Green and then would run back into the ring. And
Chelsea Green. Nacho Green.
Sorry.
Yeah, we
Nacho
don't know who
Green.
it was.
Luchador Green.
Yeah.
I apologize to Chelsea Green for assuming there. Anyway, she would run back into the ring and Piper would hit the Piper driver. And I thought, 1, 2, 3, done.
It looked sick.
It does.
I mean, it looks badass.
Yeah, Piper driver. 1, 2. Ooh, no, nothing for there. And that surprised the hell out of me. I thought, game over. Anyway, we then have back and forth, what's about to happen. You could tell it was the climax of the match. Bailey would then go run and jump on Piper's back. And Piper's, larger human. And Piper would just not fall over, hold her up, would go for a Samoan drop on a Bailey. But Bailey, during the Samoan drop, would turn Piper enough to where when she hit, she would roll her into a roll up. 1, 2, 3. Bailey wins it. This had no reason going this hard. It was good.
Yeah, really good. And admittedly for Piper, this was the best showing she's had since she came back from being Dewdrop.
Oh, yeah.
So even before that, I mean, this is one of her better matches since NXT UK. I mean, it was really good stuff. Bailey looked good here. Excited to see her SummerSlam match. Chelsea Green, was excited. She played her character well. I'm intrigued, I guess, to see now. The most intriguing thing I have out of this match is does Chelsea Green go for the Money in the Bank?
No.
Do they put her in there?
No.
Because I've seen some people talk about this.
I think it'll be a triple threat.
At Money in the Bank?
Yeah. I think it'll be a triple threat for the match. I think we're gonna have on SmackDown, Bailey's gonna come out and probably say something, and then Piper's gonna come out and be like, "Look, I had you until Chelsea screwed all of it up." And I mean, she didn't screw her really, but we're gonna get that heelish. Chelsea screwed me, and then I think it'll end up in a triple threat match where Bailey gets a win there too.
Makes sense. And then goes on to lose at SummerSlam, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's beating. I mean, unless we keep getting the Tiffy Nia mentions on SmackDown, then I don't think anybody's beating.
Which I still think we can get those, and then you can also have. I wouldn't be surprised with how they built up Nia. Maybe like a double champion. Maybe she's tag champion and women's champion, and maybe Tiffany Stratton wins the Money in the Bank as well. So they both have like important stuff. Well, screw it. Why not?
It's true. I can see it.
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
I mean, it is. Well, yeah.
Is it far-fetched? Yes, but it's not crazy.
You have Tiffany also win the Queen of the Money in the Bank, so she has the
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Then
you tease the cash in all the time while they have tag matches.
She just is like, oh, I wouldn't do that to you. Oh.
Yeah, why not?
That'd be great. We then moved on to our main event of the night: Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this was good stuff. My type of wrestling in particular. Drew would get the bagpipes on the entrance. A bunch of bagpiped men would walk out doing the Scottish thing. Bagpiped men. Wait, that got you?
Somebody clipped that.
Yeah, that got you. He looked like the hometown hero walking out. He had the Scottish flag. He was juiced up and ready to go. Damian Priest would get his standard entrance, but he was looking damn good with the belt. I had Damian in this. You had Drew McIntyre. Match would start off with a good old-fashioned stare down that took a while, right in the middle of the ring. And the crowd was hot.
Yeah.
And Drew was their guy. Like there wasn't a Damian fan in the crowd. It was CM Punk Chicago against John Cena level of just that's their guy, and they're gonna blow this place up if it goes south.
Yeah.
Early on, like I said, it was a stiff match. They were giving each other hard chomps every time they would slam each other. It was a hard slam, suplexes, power bombs. Just really, really good stuff here. Suicide dives from Drew. He did that suicide flip to the outside. That just looked like $1 billion per usual. Just good stuff. We would then get to the notorious botch, which looked nasty.
It looks painful.
He would, Drew McIntyre would get thrown out of the ring by Damian, and Damian was going to go for like a suicide dive where he utilizes the rope. So like kind of like a springboard suicide where he would use he would run and use the second rope as a step and launch. But he hit it with his heel, and so his foot slid past the rope, and it just caught on the rope. And if you haven't seen it, go look at it. It looked nasty. The commentating team was like, oh my God, this is the nastiest thing I've ever seen. I've been watching wrestling for 30 years, haven't seen anything like it. And I mean, dude just hung there. Like,
yeah. Perhaps to Drew to play it off, I guess, get some offense in, and then he, looks around and he's like, well, I can't win the title like this.
I wrote that down.
So, he's like, I got to get him in.
He hit him a couple times, and he's just like, I can't pin him. So I got to get him up. And he literally like helped him up. It was kind of funny, but it didn't disrupt the match. If anything, it added to it because it was just a funny moment. Like it really was. And Drew and they both played it off, and then the rest of the match pre-sold it. So it became a part of the story.
Yeah, he might not have had to sell it too hard.
I know
that.
Yeah, he might not have had to sell it because he might actually be injured. I don't know. We'll see on Raw if he has a boot on or anything. They have him drop the belt tomorrow to Finn Balor or something because he has a long-standing injury.
Uncle Howdy.
Ooh. I'd be down. We then had Drew hit a couple Future Shock DDTs. We had Priest hit a Razor's Edge off the top rope. Stuff was going down. They did this cool. I mean, a lot of people say it was probably cheesy. I liked it, but they did this thing where long match, hard match. They can't stand. They were on their knees doing a battle of the wills, punching each other back and forth. They get to their feet and literally just, I mean, it was sort of AEW-ish. They weren't really selling anything too much, but it was this thing where like neither of them could make the other guy fall. They were doing head kicks and Drew was giving him headbutts and, both guys were wobbling and very WWE 2K24-ish. They'd eventually both give each other a right punch at the same time, Rocky style, and fall backward at the same time. Then the effery. Well, before the effery, Drew would hit Priest hit a Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and Drew would just kind of no sell it, get up, Claymore, 1-2, ooh, and then the effery. The ref was near the turnbuckle, and Drew comes and sort of like spear / pushes Damian into the ropes, and the ref is like, oh God, these are two guys. I don't want to be in the way of this. He gets out of the ring. He like dodges it by like just going through the ropes real quick, getting out of the ring, gets back on the apron, and then I don't remember the exact spot that hit him, but one of the guys ended up hitting him, running into the ref on the apron. He
flies,
does a great job, and he just dives off that apron into the barrier. And during that, boom, Claymore nails Damian, center of the ring, pin, whole crowd, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no ref bump. And then some of the best camera work in the history of wrestling happens. They show a wide shot of the entire crowd, and all you can see is this little referee running from the stage. We finally got another ref, He's sprinting up there, slides into the ring. You can't see him, but all you can see is his pants and his stripes on his back, and he's counting 1, 2, and the ref stops. And the camera slowly pans, and it's CM Punk, and he's just sitting there like, that's a 2. Drew's shocked. Drew is shocked. Everybody's shocked. The crowd is just livid with this man. I mean, CM Punk ain't welcome back. Drew gets pissed, gets up, starts to go after CM Punk, gets him in the corner, and CM Punk kind of wrestles with him for a minute and then just kicks him right in the dick. Good old low blow to the Scottish man. Just right in the dick. He falls down. CM Punk gets out of the ring. He kind of laughs. Damian Priest gets up, hits Drew McIntyre with the South of Heaven. The ref at this point is no longer bumped. 1, 2, 3. Damian Priest retains with the help of CM Punk. This stuff was good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, great stuff. As we talked about it when we watched it, Punk slides in, and you, like you said, you can just see the back of him, and it's like 1, 2, and then when he stops, you hear the whole crowd go, "Oh!" That's when they realize it.
Yeah.
And I guess like we're caught up in it too. Like you don't see the cameraman on the other side to get the other shot.
Yeah.
And so the cameraman's sitting there just waiting, and then boom, they flip to the other camera. And Punk's sitting there with, like you said, with that too. We had kind of alluded to it when we had thought about this a couple weeks ago, and as time went on, and I think as the day went on, people were like, "Okay, yeah, this is going to happen." But to actually see him go through with it was pretty crazy. I mean, admittedly, to build up the heat on Punk, and Wade Barrett did a great job afterwards on the post show talking about this is worse than the screw job.
Yeah.
All this stuff. Wade Barrett did a great job selling it as well afterwards.
I saw some people say online that the one way that people want to go with this, or they should go with this, is the idea of like whenever they do meet, because of the way that CM Punk's been really ratty to Drew, should Drew squash him?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you have them. I don't know. I guess it depends. I mean, I assume probably SummerSlam's the match, right?
Yeah. I mean, CM Punk looks good. Looks good and clear. It might be Money in the Bank as a round one.
I think that's a SummerSlam match.
I
think you hold off and you just push it to that. I would be surprised if they squash him just from the fact of we've waited this long to see CM Punk. We've waited this long to see this. He might win by like I don't know, he's got the tights, or he's got some, I don't know, brass knucks, or he's got some sort of like cheating way or whatever to win. But I think that's probably the way they go about it. Would make a little bit more sense to me, at least. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that you can't squash CM Punk. I mean, you got to have him be some sort of reputable. He's got to have some sort of reputation. I don't even think he should. Yeah, it'd be hard to see who's going to win that match, because I guess CM Punk is so over that.
I think it's got to be Punk. I mean, I think
that loses,
that wins.
Really?
I think Punk's.
Then you have Drew just. CM Punk's been ratting on him for months and just getting by here and there. I think you got to have Drew go over.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. But I would say Punk, just for the sense of, I mean, Drew just lost the biggest match of his career, right? And you might be like, oh, well, you got to build him back up somehow. I think Drew can bounce back easier. Plus, we haven't seen Punk in so long. I think you start getting Punk some momentum to where he can kind of go and kind of take that rocket and kind of start elevating.
I'm in the minority probably of like, you don't need CM Punk to win, because he's just CM Punk at this point. He's over as hell, and it doesn't really matter. You just got to make sure that he can put on a good match, and if he loses, it's like, that's fine, whatever.
It's kind of how I feel about Drew, though. I feel like Drew's to that point now.
I mean, I agree.
Like both guys are like, it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll see.
I just throw some other guy in there and have Chad Gable win it. You know what? God damn it, he needs a win. Anyway, where does Damian Priest go from here as champ? I mean, you got to think that they're now 100% going to go with the CM Punk Damian stuff, or Drew stuff. So that'll be in Damian's rear view. So, I mean, with Damian winning here, I think that means Finn Balor probably wins Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Obviously, Priest is losing to Gunther at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit of time. I would like Balor to win the Money in the Bank. I know some backstage reports say Jey Uso's the favorite too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Howdy's going to attack Jey Uso, so that kind of takes him out. So I think Balor having that, and you can have him tease a cash in for a while. Hell, I mean, honestly, you could even have him win it, and you could just give me Gunther and Balor at SummerSlam.
Gunther and Balor at SummerSlam?
I mean, I know Gunther has a match, and people were kind of writing it off as Priest is going to be that guy, but...
Oh, random cut. We had technical difficulties for the first time here on the Cuts of Destruction Wrestling podcast. We had a little bit of a camera cut out, so we're just going to continue from where we were, though. Basically, where we're going with it was the future of the CM Punk stuff with Drew McIntyre is going to be great. Where we go with Damian, in a 2-month term, we got Gunther. He's right there. So You just got to get him there. Whether or not this ankle thing is a big deal, who knows? So will he sit out Money in the Bank? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe so, probably so. I would say
Mhm.
maybe you have, I don't know, Cody defended or something,
Yep.
and maybe you have a world title match on there at that point. I think now you start to look at the Money in the Bank winners. I think Balor makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Now you have Damian has an ankle injury. I mean, it's pretty legit.
Yeah.
You could have Balor and Judgment Day kind of turn, cash in on Priest, and then honestly give Balor the belt, make Balor go ahead to SummerSlam and give me Gunther and him. I think that would be phenomenal. Maybe that's a little bit wishful thinking because we have enjoyed Damian Priest's run so far. We
Yep.
thought Priest has done a great job, and I don't really want the belt off of him, but I think Balor deserves a chance with the belt. And even if it is, he would be the real transitional champion. He deserves a SummerSlam match. I think maybe you have him and Gunther go on. He drops the belt to Gunther. Then you have the Priest Balor kind of feud after that. I think that would be a smart way to go.
All I hear from that is Finn Balor versus Gunther, and that would be a phenomenal match. So I'm 100% down for it because Gunther would throw that man around and chop him into no existence. Finn Balor has been the workhorse, as we've said many times. He deserves a title shot here, and if Damian is hurt, good time to do it. Good situation. Like, this would be the perfect situation for an injury. You have Money in the Bank, give it to him, run the match, boom.
Yeah, and I think as we talk about faces and heels all the time, Balor started to show he's a little bit of a heel, maybe more than some of the Judgment Day guys. Priest has teetered a little bit. Priest has admittedly kind of started to be more of a face. Gunther doesn't really matter. Gunther's awesome. He's going to get the belt. So you could have Priest. Maybe at the end of the day, you have Balor, Gunther put on a great match. Maybe you have Priest somehow help, and boom, you get the title drop. That kicks that feud off, and you're good to go.
Ultimately, phenomenal PLE.
Yes.
Phenomenal PLE. 4 out of 5, whatever we'd rate it. Great stuff. Great stuff. PLEs just keep continuing to get better and better, or just their quality keeps continuing to not dip. And when you're in these months after Mania, that is always known as the downtime in WWE. And then SummerSlam normally kicks you in to get high gear again for a little bit, and there's some excitement there. But they have continued their momentum from WrestleMania pretty well. You know, a lot of people online are going to be like, no, they haven't. But yes, they have. To me, I love it. Great stuff.
Well, numbers don't lie. They've been selling out shows all the time.
Yeah.
They've been doing good ratings. People have been tuning in. So, I mean, people could say they're upset with stuff, but I think they're in the minority. I think a majority of people are really enjoying this stuff right now.
Well, due to technical difficulties, I think that we're just going to probably just cut the fantasy match for this week. I'll bring it back next time. I'll bring it back.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll have 2 fantasy matches.
That'd be sick.
He'll do one, I'll do one. Maybe we'll make a little special cut out of it next week.
Deal.
Do it that
Deal.
way.
Technical difficulties are always fun, but we do want to give you guys a shout out. Thank you guys for all the momentum that we have been seeing on all the platforms. If you do feel like you like this content, feel free to share it. We're continuing to grow and grow. We are not going anywhere. We're doing our weekly podcast every Monday, our Raw review, our SmackDown review, and then we do at least one more video / pod throughout the week, mostly top 5 stuff. A lot of good stuff here. And you talking to earlier about the interactions that you like to see.
Yeah. Like you said, top 5 stuff, some underrated, overrated, some what ifs, what would you do, some fantasy booking stuff, or hey, maybe a superstar. Who's a superstar you think deserves better, or maybe somebody you don't think, something like that. But admittedly, like we talked earlier, we weren't able to watch Clash live, but I was able to interact with some of you guys throughout the pay-per-view and got to talk to you guys and seeing the interactions back and forth, or these are my thoughts, this is what I think, this was good, this was bad. Hey, somebody even pointed out, both of these guys went 2-3. I went 5-0. I'm better than these guys.
Terrible.
Things like that. We'll be better. But it was great to see that interaction back and forth, and that was one of the first times that admittedly I got to see the growth with the interaction with the audience, and it was all leading up to Clash and at Clash and a little bit of the aftermath, and just keep that coming. I mean, that was great stuff.
Multiple people have when they've commented on some of our stuff and we interact back, they end with like you know what, that was kind of fun to talk to you about that. Thanks for not like shitting on my comment or anything. And I'm like, dude, that's what we're here for, man. Just talking about this dumb wrestling stuff that we all love. So that really is what it's all about. Continue to comment on our stuff. Let us know if you like the content that we're doing already, or what you would change about the content we do already, and then what you would like to see us add as content. That would be phenomenal as well. So share and let us know what your likes and dislikes are. Other than that, yeah, I slipped up pretty good there. Other than that, please follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Apple, Spotify, etc. Until next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time. We're out.